Hello and welcome to the Empowered Learning Podcast. This is your host, Andy Bennetts. On today's episode, we welcome Ken Brengle. Ken is a serial entrepreneur, having started and ran multiple successful businesses and opportunities. He is a well-respected and sought-after voice in the crypto space, having contributed to the Emmy Award-winning documentary, The Highest Stakes. And as you will see on this riveting episode, Ken has some incredible and compelling thoughts on the future of our state. Welcome to my friend, Ken Brengle.
What's up, Ken? How you doing, buddy?
It's good to see you, Andy. It's been a minute. So it's good to catch up with an old friend.
I know, right? We were walking into Walmart. I was walking out. He was walking in. I'm like, hey, I haven't seen you for a long time. We'd done lunch, a few times years before that. And it's been a minute since we talked. So I'm glad that we kind of had a chance encounter to get reconnected. And it's great to see you, buddy.
Well, it's great to see you. And congratulations to all your success. This is wonderful, man. I always knew that you'd be at the helm someday, and now here you are,
right,
leading the ship.
There you go. Yeah, I can say probably the first time that we were, grabbing lunch together, I was the second in charge and kind of going through the, challenges, I guess we shall say, of buying a company and going from second to the lead, and there's challenges in all of those. It's been fun, but yeah, I appreciate that. I remember you had some good insights on those, and I definitely appreciated your advice on those things. I appreciated that.
Hey, absolutely. Even a broken clock's right twice a day. So.
Yeah, that's right.
Even a homeless man can give you good advice.
Yeah, there you go. That's very true. Very, very true. So, Ken, you and I have known each other for years. I wouldn't even pretend to know when this whole first thing started. I would say probably the last 5 or 6 years, we were probably a little bit more connected on some different things, which we'll dive into. But we grew up, pretty close together and probably going to the same high school. Maybe didn't run in the same circles, and that at that time of our life. But for the last few years, we've been, pretty close and bouncing ideas off each other. So, So for the people that don't know you as well as I do, I'm sure I will learn new things today as well. But give us a little bit of a background of, where you grew up, kind of your journey to where you're at right now, and then we'll kind of dive into some of the fun stuff that you're working on now.
Yeah. So grew up Southwest Colorado, spent some time between Cortez and Durango, graduated high school, went to Fort Leisure College, we like to call it, Fort Lewis College in Durango. Right. Played Van Wilder and had a good time being a ski bum and working full time and trying to go to school, and started making more money than I was looking at some of the guys that graduated 2-3 years out of college. And I said, why am I doing this? And I was going to school for business and finance. And, I knew guys that had started their own businesses, and I'd always been pretty entrepreneurial from a young age. I used to scrape and paint houses and do landscaping and stuff as a kid, long before I could even drive, just to make some cash. And so when I started seeing some of my buddies making real money, starting businesses, I was like, man, this is the stuff I always wanted to do anyway. So worked for a few more years under other people while trying to get the finances together. Had a great opportunity by chance that I was the number 2 at a store that we were in Cortez, Colorado at the time. I was a sales manager, and the general manager's wife just happened to be up in Denver at one time. Went out to a fly-in for Washington, D.C. with the Rocky Mountain Farmers Union. And they were like, yeah, we're looking for a new agent in your area, in the Durango area specifically. And, you have anyone in mind? And by coincidence, my cousin had just convinced me to get my insurance license for life insurance. And she's like, yeah, actually, my husband's number 2 at a store. He's not really happy where he's at. I think he's got potential to do more, and it got me connected. And so I ended up with an insurance agency. And next thing you know, I'm there for 9 years and just having a blast doing it. I mean, it's any kind of industry where you're dealing face to face with the customer, it can get pretty tedious.
Right.
Let's just say that 80% of your problems come from 20% of your people. The Pareto principle is a real deal.
Right.
And so, getting yelled at for things that were outside of my control, like rates increasing or people's policies canceling because they didn't pay it after being sent 3 notices.
Yep.
Kind of started to grind on me after a few years, but I love the growing the business side of things. I like tracking the numbers. I like looking at the spreadsheets. I like knowing that, trying to project where I was going to hit at the end of the year based upon where I was at, and tried to build a team there. And I not certain that I did a great job there, because it's very trying. You can either try to find 1099 agents that want to build a big business under you, and they're so few and far between, especially in some of these rural communities, that you really end up having to hire a, a W-2 employee. And typically W-2 employees, not bashing on all of them, there's some great ones out there, but they're happy where they're at. They're not looking to advance. They want the pay raise, but they don't want additional responsibility and all the things that go with it. So I had a trying time with that, but I had no problem with it. I just knew it was part of the game of being a business owner.
Right.
But come 2017, you and I actually were talking and participated in some of the same things in the crypto space. And lo and behold, I paid a very hefty tuition as to how this game is played. So I call it my my tuition for college in the University of Crypto.
That's a good way to look at it.
Yeah, if you don't lose money when you first get into crypto, then you're not really learning, or you got someone really good that's like holding your hand through the process.
That's very
and
true.
so it took me a long time to find what a good project is, to really know, no matter how beautiful the UI UX is on a website, that there's a good chance that could be a scam. What a good DeFi, decentralized finance product actually looks like, how to maneuver through all the FUD, and FUD is fear, uncertainty, and doubt. Very big term used in the crypto space. And came across some guys. One guy in particular, Richard Hart, just was he was trashing everything that I was in. And I was like, man, I do not like this guy. Like, I want to hear nothing but hopium, and we're going to the moon, and things are going to be great from here on out. And that's not what he was saying, but something resonated with me, that the guy was telling the truth, and he knew his stuff. He had been in Bitcoin since 2011. He was mining Bitcoin before you even needed, before there was ASIC chips, and before that there was graphics cards, and even before that you could do it on your actual CPU. Well, he started mining individual blocks himself, 50 Bitcoin per block every 10 minutes.
Wow.
And so he had been in this thing since the very beginning. He had kind of legislated within the crypto space, especially the Bitcoin community, on how the upgrades of the network should go and things of that nature, and then was calling out all the bad actors. And I happened to be in like everything he was calling out.
You and me both.
I said, man, I don't like this guy, but there's something that resounds true, and he's not afraid to just tell it as it is. So I followed him, and I started really looking into Trace Mayer with not your coin, or not your keys, not your crypto. So if you relinquish control of them and send them somewhere else and expect some kind of return, you're going to lose them. Even on centralized exchanges, FTX was a great example of that. Fortunately, I had nothing to do with FTX. A great analogy for centralized exchanges with crypto is use them like a bathroom. You get in there, you do your business, you wash your hands, and you get out. You don't sleep there overnight. So because then once you don't have control of those coins, then it's no longer yours. And then along came 2021 was the next big crypto bull after the 2017 market, that just taught everyone what decentralized finance really was. Decentralized exchanges worked. You didn't have to use centralized exchanges any longer. There were tokens out there like hex.com that you could get yield on them, and just so many great projects out there that I really started to dig in and started to do my homework. And as I started to find a lot of success in those coins, specifically hex.com, it was amazing, the life-changing wealth that was made. And I said, why don't I go on with some of these shows and kind of help promote this community? And so a buddy of mine started Discourse Syndicate, which is a YouTube channel. We've got a couple project YouTubes like Crypto Junkies and E3 Syndicate, but they're just kind of hobbies at this point in time. Discourse Syndicate, my buddy who ended up becoming my business partner, he's still fully running that and doing a pulse chain tour to teach people what real DeFi is, how you can get rid of banks, and how you can use these products for your own self-sovereignty and handling your own wealth. And along with that, as I started to get to be known a little bit more, I'm still running the insurance agency at this time. I started hiring more people, started making less and less because I was having to hire more and more people to come in to run. It's amazing how you'll hire 3 people to get the same job done that you could get done in a day. It's amazing how that works, but that's W-2 employees for you. No bashing on W-2 employees because some of you are all great out there. I love you to death. Just wasn't the route I was always too ambitious to stay a W-2 employee. So I started doing some streams on that channel, started helping out quite a bit behind the scenes, helping with marketing efforts with the community and things of that nature. And along came a lot of different people with a lot of different opportunities. And as we became more and more successful, it's amazing. It's like the opportunities that became available were crazy. So the more successful you become, it's almost like a ladder. You take another step up the rung of the ladder and you can see farther, there's more opportunity. You take another step, there's even more opportunity. It was at that point I really had to step back and start to learn to say no to some of these opportunities. I'm probably still not as great at that as I should be. There's still so many opportunities that come my way that it's hard not to, as a serial entrepreneur, to not want to jump in there and help out and be involved and be a founder of something. But I'm having to narrow my focus now at this point in time. But really, financial freedom came from crypto and learning from the hard way, and most people do, and learning what is a really good project and how to actually make money in crypto and how to navigate those waters. And maybe someday I'll even do a course on how to teach people how to do it. But I'm just not at the point anymore where I want to walk individuals through that door and hold their hand and get them going. Just my time is too valuable at this point in time, and it's quite a steep learning curve. But it's been great. We've built out 4 different teams. We have a movie out called The Highest of Stakes. You can find it on Google and Amazon.
Highest of Stakes?
The Highest of Stakes. Yeah, it's actually a documentary about Richard Hart, this gentleman I was talking about, and community funded. We've got some investors. The 5-time Emmy Stakes. KES.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah, no problem. And because when you stake your hex, you earn yield on it. So it's the highest of stakes.
Love it.
We've got a 5-time Emmy award-winning film crew that made it.
Wow.
And we're looking at doing a number 2 right now.
Okay.
And got an amazing team there. I mean, they know the industry inside and out. They're not Hollywood insiders, which I kind of like that about them as well. For many different reasons, which we won't get into here because I don't want any of it to get political. But these guys know what they're doing, and the production quality is absolutely amazing. You can find that on YouTube, Amazon, or Apple TV. Apple TV is the one I was forgetting to tell you about. So that opportunity came along, and so for 2 years we filmed, edited. We've got so much footage. We had to keep it within 90 minutes or so. But it's extremely entertaining. Production value is unheard of for a documentary. Absolutely loved working with that team. We're still working behind the scenes, so we've just begun monetizing it in November. And like I said, we're looking at doing a number 2 here at this point.
That's awesome.
Yeah, that's been a fun project because I never thought I'd be making movies. I've never had the ambitions to be in the movie industry. I could care less about any of that. But it has been fun just watching through the process and seeing how these guys do it. We also started a family office for crypto wealthy individuals. We started what's called the Hex Investment Trust. So it's like the Grayscale Bitcoin Trust that just became an ETF, but we filled it with the Hex digital asset versus Bitcoin because there's a yield bearing component to that. So it's in the private stage right now. Got a good team working on that behind the scenes. And I'm out of my depth on a lot of this. I just want to throw that out there. This is not to say, hey, I'm so good, I got all this working. No, I was just smart enough to find people that were already involved in the industry that understood it, that I could partner with on these things so that we could actually go forward because as I learned from, I actually got to interview Robert Kiyosaki from Rich Dad Poor Dad on
did
our
you really?
E3
Wow.
Syndicate. It was my first video on E3 Syndicate. So our YouTube channel, my little hobby channel.
That's amazing.
And yeah, I got to meet him out in Dallas. He was an amazing guy. No BS kind of guy. Tells you
Right.
exactly how it is. Absolutely love the guy to death.
Yeah.
But he said, I'd been watching him for years, and Rich Dad Poor Dad changed my whole perception of how money really truly worked.
Right.
And so I was talking with him, and we had a discussion offline about the school system and how it's trying to teach kids, to memorize everything and to be good at everything themselves. He says that's not how the real world works. You can just be really good in one area and find other people that are really good in other areas, and you guys together can accomplish more than one that's great at everything.
Right.
And so it really changed my mindset on that. So I started bringing these people around me that could help with these opportunities, and we've just been having a ball. And so my latest venture, the one that I'm enjoying probably the most, is we're actually now building protocols on Pulse Chain and Ethereum. Pulse Chain is a Ethereum 2.0 fork with faster transactions and cheaper fees. It's probably the next L1 to do a 10,000x like Bitcoin and Ethereum did. And so we were like, this thing is going to pop off. It was also created by Richard Hart as well. And he did it as a fix to the ETH fees get so high in a bull market when Ethereum gets to its all-time high, and gas cost, which is the cost of the amount of ETH it costs to run a transaction on the network, goes super, super high. And the price is high. So it like compounds the price to run any transactions. And we noticed a lot of people in our community with Hex were having problems ending their stakes. We had people that had $1,500 to end a 2-year stake. We had people I saw as high as $3,000 on one particular stake that was early. And so when he created Pulse Chain as a solution for that, we said, hey, this has got the potential to do everything that Ethereum did. So I've got one of the best video game designers that does systemic design. He's a systemic designer architect for video games. I got a guy that's he's absolutely brilliant, and he can look at the economics behind a token, which we call tokenomics in the industry. He can look at that and say, here's how you can actually take this particular token and make the tokenomics, the economics of the token, less leaky, so less economic energy leaves the system and more people get that rising tide floats all boats effect. And then we found an amazing dev team that's done some crazy things that perhaps your audience may not be familiar with, but has gotten funding from some of the largest hedge funds and crypto investors out there building big things. The guys behind some of the big exchanges and things of that nature. So we partnered with these guys, and now we're literally just taking these people's ideas and we're helping them develop them and build these protocols, these decentralized finance protocols on top of Pulse Chain and Ethereum, and really just helping people learn to be unbanked themselves. So it's kind of a catch-22 with the crypto industry, where the wealthy Americans typically hold most of the bags of any particular coin just because of our income compared to the rest of the world. But we don't use these tools as an actual primary market to deal with, where you go to places like Indonesia and the Philippines, and these guys understand crypto because they're trading stable coins, which are pegged to the United States dollar. They're using that for actual currency in their countries. So they understand it better than Americans do, but Americans are the ones with all the money buying up all the tokens.
Right.
So it's a catch-22, and we're hoping to help develop some of these tools so that it becomes more well-known and more mainstream for everybody to deal with crypto and really take control of their personal finances and their future.
Right. Let's if we can just go back a little bit, because we kind of dove into the deep end for those that haven't been in the crypto world for any length of time. We might have lost you along the way. So if we can kind of go back.
I apologize for that.
No, you're good, man. I knew that you would bring it. It's all good. We'll kind of go in and fill the holes now. I guess coming back to, you'd said that you're a serial entrepreneur. That's, I think, one of the reasons why you and I connected so much, whether it was on crypto or different things like that. It just, that is a certain mindset that you either get it or you don't. There's not much that you can train somebody into that. But I guess, what was it about, moving from owning your own insurance agency into crypto? What was it about crypto that was most exciting to you? Obviously the money is there too, but you mentioned before when we were talking about this of your desire to continue learning, which is again back to the idea of empowered learning. So I guess what was the turning point for you of saying, yes, this is good, this is paying the bills and this kind of stuff, but there's something in this crypto space that rings my bell and is exciting to me. What was that moment?
Yeah, I mean, I'm not gonna lie. The money was the number one driving motivator at
Gotcha.
first. At first.
Right.
But I'm one of the few people in crypto that actually are in it for the tech. There's a meme. There's a guy decked out in an Indian man in all gold with multiple chains and rings, and he's like, "I'm in it for the tech." That's the meme. And so I actually am, because I think crypto has the ability to change the relationship between man and its government.
Wow.
Right now, we are stuck in a fiat currency system backed by really nothing more than the perceived notion that it has value, and number two, the United States military. So this is a way for us to work outside that system, almost create our own digital states within the existing states of the world. And there's a gentleman out there in the space called Raoul Paul that talks about this, and there's an author named Balaji that created a book called The Network States, and how for the 20th century we were all coming together as giant land masses and accumulating all these different states and bringing them together under one large state. And now I think we're going to start to see, with decentralization, starting with crypto, we're going to start to see everything kind of fall back away and become their own individual states, where individual local areas are going, or digital communities online that start to see that they can actually share the same beliefs as others that believe the same thing as them, and being able to actually tokenize those communities. Now, there's a lot in that, so I'm not going to really unfold that right now.
All good.
But the turning point for me from going from insurance to crypto was when my passive income from crypto and real estate, because my mom is a real estate agent, has been my whole life. I've always saw the value of having rentals and been trying to accumulate as much as I can in the way of rentals for years. So when my passive income from real estate and crypto far exceeded my working income, I said, why am I dealing with this?
Right.
I saw, being a serial entrepreneur, I see opportunity in so many different things, but they're within these different vehicles, as you could say, for wealth generation. I started to look for what one has the potential to scale at a faster, or to scale faster, and to have an outsized earning versus, we have a friend, you and I have a friend, he's got an HVAC company. Absolutely extremely successful gentleman. Love the guy. Works probably harder than I do. And maybe my laziness actually helped me learn to work smarter than harder.
Right.
But that is a very difficult business to scale. You got to buy a new truck. You got to hire new people. You got to train new people. You got to get new tools. You got to expand your facilities. I'm working in software now. Like, if you look at like the 10 richest people in the world, 9 out of 10 of them are software developers. Bill Gates, Elon Musk. Everyone thinks Elon Musk is a car manufacturer or a rocket manufacturer. No, it's all about software in these businesses. Now, you only have to build that software once. Now, you may have to continue updating it, but you only have to build that software once, and you can sell it 1 billion times.
Right.
So the wealthiest people in the world are doing software. And I said, well, that's the game that I should be in. Something that has infinite scalability, as long as there's people on the planet that haven't used the product yet and can start using it, or are already using it and are willing to continue using it.
Right.
So that's kind of where my shift went.
Gotcha.
To chasing, I guess you could say, shiny new objects, but I just like the potential long term.
And now, a brief commercial from today's sponsor.
Do you know how much of your mortgage payment goes to interest? Whether you're an experienced homeowner or a first-time buyer, you probably know that a good interest rate is critical to paying off your mortgage successfully. A difference of just 1% can mean thousands more or less in your pocket after your mortgage is paid. Even if you think you're getting a great deal on your mortgage payment and an ultra-low interest rate, you're probably not getting the full story. Because the banks want their cash up front, your mortgage payment is front-end loaded, so you'll be paying a lot more in interest from the start. That means less money towards your actual loan payment and more money in the lender's pocket. So, take a guess at what percentage of your monthly payment goes to interest. 10%? 20%? Maybe even 30%? Not even close. On a $300,000 30-year mortgage at 4% interest, on your very first payment, you'd pay $1,000 of a $1,432 monthly payment to interest. That's 70% of your payment going straight to the bank. So, what can you do about it? It can seem impossible to fight back against your lender, but if you think you have to settle for a future of high interest rate mortgage payments, think again. Imagine a future where you're debt-free, a life of comfort, confidence, and financial freedom. We're talking about a tool that could save thousands of dollars for you and your family and empower you to live the lifestyle you've always dreamed of. The best part about it, it's not a dream. It's not magic either. It's called the Money Max account, and it's already helped Americans eliminate over $2 billion in mortgage and other debt payments. United Financial Freedom developed the Money Max to be an all-in-one tool designed to get you out of debt as quickly as possible. By strategically calculating your payments, debts, and other expenses, MoneyMax can help you get out of debt in as little as 7 to 10 years. Why pay more to the bank for more time than you need to? Skip the expensive interest payments and get ready for a debt-free future with the MoneyMax account.
To learn more and schedule your free complimentary savings report, go to moneymax.com/empower. And now, back to the Empowered Learning Podcast.
Yeah, that makes perfect sense. So what would you say, and then you mentioned both in the insurance space and even in teaching in the crypto space, that it probably takes, there's a certain amount of work that it takes to convince or sell, quote unquote, somebody on an insurance agent or on an insurance policy or on a piece of hardware or something like that. So there's that, right? There's some uncertainty and maybe some doubts. I think it goes to the nth degree when we start talking about things that are unknown, like crypto, right? If you're in the crypto space, it makes sense. You don't have to start from scratch to explain this, but for those that have maybe seen crypto and it has these monumental rises and falls and this kind of stuff, and maybe like myself that got in on one of the down runs and then capitalized on that big run, but maybe didn't pull out in the right time and got burned on that. I'm sure that I'm not the only one out there that has been burnt on it. And then because of the FUD or whatever the case is, again, fear, uncertainty, and doubt, they didn't come back into it, or maybe they just never dipped their toe because of disbelief, or if it seems too good to be true, then it is, right? I mean, that there's all of these psychological things that go into people's mind as to yes, I will, or no, I won't. Yes, there's some risk, but it's not always as risky as maybe you might make it out to be. I guess what would you say to those people? Again, they're going to do what they're going to want to do, but in conversations that you've had with other folks, what is the best way to explain the pros, knowing that there are some risks right there, but because of these pros, this is why I have chosen to be in this world, one, and also gain quite a bit of money because of my application of that.
Yeah, well, look, Andy, markets are markets.
Yeah.
And the market can stay irrational longer than you can stay solvent. And just quoting Warren Buffett right there. And everybody knows you need to buy low and sell high. But when it comes to human emotion, that's the thing you need to really keep in check is your human emotion.
Right.
Because it's really easy to say that,
Right.
But it's really hard to buy when everybody's selling. Like, oh my gosh, this thing is going to zero. There's no chance I want to jump in this right now.
Right.
That's literally the time you need to be. So
Right.
another Warren Buffett quote is, be fearful when others are greedy and be greedy when others are fearful. So taking the emotion out of it, and selling at the top is a very, very, very difficult thing to do. And I've failed twice now to do that, at least to the extent that I wanted to. And when you've got this euphoria about, this particular token or this crypto that I'm in is going up, when is it going to stop? When is it going to stop? I really had to teach myself the lesson. And I learned from smarter people than myself, but I really had to learn that you're always going to be more upset at yourself if you didn't sell anything and you missed the top than you are if you sold a little bit too early and didn't catch the top.
Right.
I've never been mad at myself for selling near the top, but not the total top.
Right.
And I've always been mad at myself for not selling after the top has come and gone. So it's a very difficult thing to do. It's human emotion. It's very, very difficult to overcome. But if you can, I don't know, it's difficult because if you haven't actually, it's a lot easier when you've seen someone and someone personally that has done this and has been successful at doing it.
Right.
Your confidence level really starts to go up. But there's absolutely a learning curve when it comes to this. Like understanding how to download your own wallet, to store your own keys, to protect yourself on the blockchain, not interact with things that can drain your wallet. Like there's a lot to learn, especially on the security side and OPSEC, the operational security. So it's one of those things that everything is difficult at first when you start, right? It doesn't matter what it is. Riding a bike, learning to read, it's all difficult at first, but it gets a lot easier with more repetition as you do it.
Right.
And crypto's no different. The only difference is that riding a bike, unless you're Lance Armstrong, probably isn't going to make you wealthy. So, and reading a book isn't going to make you wealthy unless you apply the applications within the book or you're the author itself. So, and even then, the margins of writing and publishing these days has gone down quite a bit thanks to digital media. But it's one of those things I just try to tell people, do you want to live the 40-40-40?
Yeah.
Do you want to work for 40 years, 40 hours a week to retire off of 40% of what you actually need? Or do you actually want to take your financial future into your own hands and have some control and some say over what's going to happen in the future? So as the old, you and I have both been in network marketing. I've had a couple network marketing side hustles in the past. And the big thing within those circles is JOB. A job is JOB, just over broke. And that's the W-2 mindset, unfortunately. And you see the wealth gap disparity happening more and more. Well, this is literally the highest appreciating asset known to man with it, because it's got a built-in scarcity, be it just being digital, that this is your chance to catch up to some of those other wealthier individuals out there. You might have 1, 2, maybe 3 more bull run cycles before the volatility is gone. And so going back to the whole markets will be markets, it's the right way to put this. I want to be very tender, very loving out there to people who are scared to take their financial freedom by the horns. I guess just don't let this the opportunity pass you up. I mean, look for those opportunities out there. This is like being able to buy, and the nice thing is it's lasted longer than having to be in at the beginning of Apple or the beginning of Amazon. This is the same thing. It's essentially the same law that dictates this. It's Metcalfe's law. The size of a network, or the valuation of a network, is the square of the users on the network. And so as more and more people started to use Apple and Amazon, and they were life-changing technologies, as more people started to use them, the value started to go up.
Right.
And so it's we're in that S-curve adoption phase right now with crypto right now. And I didn't mean to turn this whole conversation into a discussion about crypto.
Yeah, it's all good. I kind of assume most of it would be. So you're
I'm so deep in it. I mean,
I know.
I can talk pretty shallow on a lot of subjects, but I can go pretty deep into this one.
Right. Let's go back to the shallow end a little bit for those that are maybe not as, and I'm not even close to as deep as you are, but I know the terms that you're saying, even if I don't haven't applied them to myself. Let's just say for those that are maybe like leaning in, like you said, there is an opportunity still presenting to itself. And again, we're not financial advisors, we're not giving advice, right? We have to preface that.
Absolutely.
But what opportunities do you look at and say these are the three things that I look at as an opportunity before I would put my own money into that? What are some attributes, I guess, of opportunities in the crypto space that are check marks on your list of yes, this is worth the risk?
Yeah. Number one, look at the timing. Timing is huge. The bull to bear to bull market, technically it's actually bear to bull to bear market is a 4-year cycle in crypto.
Okay.
We've had 1, 2, 3 cycles. This is the 4th cycle right now, 4-year cycle.
Okay.
And so you've got about 2 years of grueling bear cycle when everybody's capitulated about the price and things are lower than they've ever been. And what's your guy on CNBC? Can I think of his name? Always yelling at the TV about stocks, and he's always wrong about everything. Anyway, when he's yelling about Bitcoin's going to zero, don't be involved in this thing, it's junk, blah blah blah.
Right.
That's the time to get in.
Right.
That's the time to get in. When you're taking an Uber somewhere and your Uber driver says, "Hey, do you know about Bitcoin or do you know about Ethereum?" When they start talking crypto to you, the guy that's driving you somewhere,
right,
it's euphoria phase. It's time to get out. That's a good sell cycle.
Right.
So you don't want to buy at the top, because not only is there not a lot of room to go up, but you might just be buying the tippy top, and then you might have to wait 2 to 3 to 4 years before you can exit again at the price that you originally bought. So timing is a big deal. The Bitcoin halving usually is the indicator of when a bull market's about to start. We're about to have one in this April, and then everything else kind of follows it in the crypto space. At least for now, it's correlated. And so you usually see the top of Bitcoin about 12 months, somewhere to 10 to 12 months after the Bitcoin halving. So we're looking at, Q1, Q2 of 2025 is probably when you're going to see Bitcoin hit its new all-time high. And then it'll take another 5 or 6 months for everyone who made money in Bitcoin to disperse that money into all the other cryptos, the altcoins as the industry calls them. And it takes another 5 or 6 months for those to see their new all-time high as well. So we're probably looking potentially, I don't have a crystal ball, everybody out there, don't hold me to this, but we're looking probably summer to fall of 2025 for anything that's not Bitcoin seeing its new all-time high. I think Ethereum runs about 20, almost to the day, 27 days behind Bitcoin for new all-time high. So timing would be my number one. Don't be buying at the top. Maybe play with fake dashboard money. Say, hey, maybe get a spreadsheet out and say, hey, if I were to buy Bitcoin or Ethereum or Pulse Chain at this price today and I had $1,000, how much of it would I get? And then go back and look a year later. Ooh, well, it's down 20%. Ooh, it's down 80%. And that's another thing I want to say on this real quick is that the reason there's so much potential for gains in crypto is because of the volatility. If it was stable, there would be no opportunity there. You'd be buying some I don't know, Procter and Gamble stock or something if there wasn't. So, and don't get me wrong, there's nothing wrong with buying Procter and Gamble, good long company that's been here forever and most likely to stick around forever. But that volatility is the opportunity. And so those 4-year bull to bear or bear to bull to bear market, back to bear, is really your opportunity to get in when everyone's capitulating. So that would be number one.
Okay. What else?
Number two, you want to look for a token. I don't like to call it utility because that word is thrown around so much. So I wouldn't call it utility. I would say product market fit. Something that has a product market fit. Does it replace a product in the bank? Is it a loan product? Is it something that draws yield like Hex that's like a CD on the blockchain? Is it got some kind of product market fit that solves a problem that a bank currently offers? There's some great lending protocols out there. There's some great tokens out there for leverage trading platforms on chain. By the way, do not trade, guys. I guarantee you're gonna be of the 98% of people that lose in trading. The guys you see on Twitter that are making money doing trading, day trading, and crypto trading, swing trades, and all the other different fashionable ways to trade and leverage trade, only 2% of those people are winning. Just so you know. And even when they do win, it's usually not as big as their losses. So don't be the 98% of the people that are feeding everybody else all of their earnings. But there's great ways to make money off of those trades. Like there's a GMX protocol out there on Ethereum, and there's a famous.io platform out there on Pulse Chain where you can leverage trade some of these tokens, the ones that they have listed on there. And while I don't recommend you actually do the leverage trading itself, if you own the platform token and you stake those, then you earn the protocol fee rewards or the fees that they're earning from the people who lose on the trades or the cost to start and end your trade. So there's ways to get passive income where you're the house to some degree. You're earning off of these protocols that you're not actually actively participating in. The people that are losing are actually paying you. So you can there's essentially the way to be the house of a casino, even though these aren't casinos. It's not the same thing. Right. I don't want to, but it's a good analogy for people to really grasp onto. Gotcha. So that product market fit, it's huge. I love Hex still to this day because I can stake it and earn yield off of it, and I get to dictate between 1 and 5,555 days to stake it, and I can set up a staking ladder. I can have ladders end in the bull market. Like there's just so many different ways you can do these things. So product market fit. That would be number 2. Number 3, I would probably look for community above all. Unfortunately, X.com, formerly known as Twitter, it cracks me up to even say that. Community. How strong is the community? Because those are, if you can see if you can see a huge populace of people screaming from the rooftops, this is the token, this is the token, this, not one or two or not one off here and one off there, like 2-3 people yelling into the wilderness, but you see thousands of people on crypto Twitter, as we like to call it. I guess it's crypto X now, that are talking about timing, talking about using your money wisely, how you can generate passive income, all the hot buttons that I pretty much just talked about. If you can look for that strong community, those are going to be the ones that are going to believe in this regardless of what the price goes to. That means that's a project that probably will never die. So you want a fanatical, almost cult-like following for that particular token. Crypto is very tribalistic. My tribe will attack your tribe and vice versa. We've tried so many times on our channel to try to shift people's mindset away from that, but it is what it is for now because there's only so many people in crypto. I think it's 1% of the world's population is participating in crypto right now. And so everyone's fighting for the same user. No, get out of that junk. Come into this. Come into this good thing. But that's also another reason behind why there's so much opportunity. I mean, we haven't even really hit critical adoption yet phase, but that community is going to be the ones that are going to make sure that that particular token stays alive in the next bear market before the bull run starts again. And they're going to be the fanatics yelling and screaming from the rooftops, hey, it's time to get back into this thing. The bull market's coming.
I love it. You have any more? Like is 3? You could probably do 6 or 7, but is that
those
good?
Those are the top 3 things I look for. Absolutely, top 3 things I look for.
I love it. That's super helpful. Appreciate that.
Yeah.
Well, my friend, we did not even get into staking, which that would be a whole nother conversation. So if you are down with this, maybe we save that whole awesome conversation for the next time. But just because, like you said, there's so much, there's so much depth in all of this stuff. So let's drip on people rather than overwhelm them with too much information at one
Don't
time.
need to open the fire hose on them. Yeah.
You're good, buddy. You're all good. So everybody on the Empowered Learning Podcast gets these 3 questions. So Mr. Brengle, who is the leader that you most admire and try to emulate?
Well, I want to preface this by saying no person's perfect out there, myself included.
Right.
But I've come to aspire to be more like Elon Musk, not in the way that I want to build a $1 billion empire, but I love his idea of first principles. First principles are key. I think that's really making sure that you stand on your convictions, you do what's right in the face of society telling you that you're doing wrong, regardless, is going to be the way that we push through a lot of this political divisiveness our world is in right now, as well as start to look for real solutions instead of yelling at each other about the problem. So I have a buddy out there who doesn't like Elon Musk at all, and he's going to probably shout me down for saying that. But whether you like it or not, it's first principles, and he's a humanist. He's not a transhumanist, and he believes in people, and he believes in our relationships amongst each other, and that there's a better way for us to interact with each other, a kinder way to do things. Now, with that being said, I do want to let everyone know there is a difference between kind and nice. You can be kind and be respectful and treat them like a human being. Doesn't mean you have to be nice about how stupid their ideas are. So there is a difference between kind and nice.
Very true. Very, very true. All right. Good stuff. How about number 2 for you? This is going to be a fun one, because I'm sure there's probably, you've had more learning in the last week than some people have had in an entire year. But if you could boil it down, looking back over the last year, what learning has most impacted you?
What it really takes to do software. Software is hard.
Okay, gotcha.
Software is hard. You can have one little thing wrong in the code and it destroys everything. Software is hard. So it's funny because software, like if I'm just building an app, that's hard enough on its own. But now I have to build something that's secure and safe for people to put millions of dollars into this thing, and it not break. Because if it breaks, I just cost people millions, if not hundreds of millions of dollars with my software. So software is hard, especially blockchain, because it's encrypted software. We're lucky this stuff works at all. That's a quote from Richard Hart. You're lucky blockchain works at all.
I love it. Yeah. I'm not sure that helps with the FUD, but anyways.
Yeah, right. Well, and if you find a good community, they'll suss those things out for you. There's a lot of people that will look into the code and be like, this thing's trash. And most of the time these projects will be audited. We have an auditor for ours, for our software. It needs to be audited by an independent third party that doesn't have a stake in the protocol.
Gotcha.
So that you know that it's passed all of its code audits.
Right. All right. Well, I guess we'll stick with the theme on the crypto space, but also, what is the new world community look like, with some of the comments you made. So how would you empower learning for future generations? You can do that. We didn't even really dive into education and the broken system that is.
Yes.
We'll have to wait and do that one on the next one as well. But for now,
well, I'll preface this question by saying I don't have my kids in the public school. I have my kids in a private school. Because I'm not happy with the way that teaching is being done. The sexualization of our kids, the woke agenda out there that is really just destroying our history and our society, and more importantly, the nuclear family.
Right.
I'm just not a fan of any of that. I want my kids to learn reading, writing, and arithmetic. I
Right.
want them to understand history. I want them to understand government. And so I think if you don't have that opportunity, like I've been fortunate to do,
Mm-hmm.
you just have to be more active as a parent
Right.
in teaching your kids outside of school.
Sure.
In our situation, their homework load is so huge that it's very difficult to do.
Really?
For me to take that extra time, couple hours of the day. But man, you've got literally, thanks to the digital society we live in right now, you've got information at your fingertips instantly.
Right.
And there's some really great YouTube channels out there. There's some really great games to play to help teach critical thinking. Critical thinking, I think, is one of the least served subjects out there.
Right.
And definitely teach your kids about how money works. And if you don't know yourself about how money works, go read Rich Dad, Poor Dad. It'll change your paradigm. It'll teach you how the wealthy use money as a tool. They're not trading their hours for money. So yeah, critical thinking, teaching money to your kids and investments and things of that nature. And then it's really important to me. This may not be the case for everybody else, but your kids' spirituality. I believe that we are in a battle for the hearts, souls, and minds of our children right now. And so the children go, so does our society.
Right.
And so letting them there, in my opinion, there's a creator and there's a consequence to not doing things his way. And it's not because he wants to punish us,
right,
because we stepped out of line. Think of it as a father figure that just wants the best for their children. You want the best for your children, right?
Right.
Do you not believe that the creator of everything in this world wants the best for you as well? So that's my own personal belief. That may not stick with some others, but I think having that as your basis of authority for morality and ethics is the best source of ethics and morality out there, rather than it being subject to the whim of man.
I love it. I love it. Well, Mr. Brengle, it is great to connect with you, my friend. It was wonderful. There's so much. I'll have to watch this one a couple times just to kind of get all of the.
I don't know.
The
I don't know about that. I
love it.
I just kind of vomited out, and
it's all good,
some words came with it. So
it's all good. It's all good. We'll do another one and dive into some other stuff, because, like I said, we could probably spend 2 or 3 episodes here just diving into certain aspects and getting your take on this. But thank you very much for your time. I really do appreciate it. It's great to reconnect with you. Well, we need to grab dinner or lunch sometime.
Sounds good. I would love to, buddy.
All right, man. Take care. Have a good one.
Thanks, Andy.
Bye.